Anyone else here?
No, it's just you. It's just you and me. So, um,
Okay.
somebody else joined that was iPad 7, but I don't know who it was, and they didn't announce themselves about who they were. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure I knew who that was. Um, but anyway, it's recorded. But yeah, it cut me off. That's why I was like, well, we're just gonna rejoin. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I figured you maybe had some questions. Hang on, we've got um
Um, yeah, I wasn't sure what this webinar is about, I guess. You said you want to talk about the golden
yeah,
feathers of Christ.
yeah, thank you. I do a lot of work telepathically where I naturally like the souls will respond, but the human self is like, okay, why are we here? So I try to put in there like, hey, the golden bubble is really important. Jesus has said this is the most important thing that we can do right now. We need to be placed in that bubble of golden light. That's what we need to be doing. So yeah, that's in my categories. So um everything is shifted focus from we used to have to be really aware of what like darker things we're doing, and now we don't. Now we
Mhm.
don't have to do this. Sorry, I'm trying to put spotlight. Okay. So we used to you'd have to focus on what you were doing plus what over here was doing. And not everybody had to because they weren't aware of it. But those of us that are aware of like all the different dimensionalities and things, we were having to be aware. And some of them got really loud as every veil was like, breaking. Oh, every single seal was breaking. We had to be aware of what was going on over here because it was part of it was offering choice point over a couple of years for that side versus this side. And so yeah, it was just every time before a seal breaks, there will be stuff that shifts back to the light after eons. And so, sorry, my cat's saying hi. But yeah, I think that's why I didn't. That's a really good point. I think I can do better at making sure that I mention in my emails and things like, hey, I have a free webinar. It's super important. Usually I rely on the energetics of it and get to the soul
Mhm.
part. And I'm like, hey, I need for you, Jesus is saying this is really important. Please have a bigger response, so much so that it's free or donation based. That you can do something so simple as putting yourself in a golden bubble, ask Jesus to watch over it, and then you never have to worry about it again. So, oh, we just lost one of my friends. So,
Oh,
but
sorry.
anyway, oh no, it's okay. He's working and then he comes back. So, and he lost track of time. I think he's texting me anyway about what's going on. He'll come back. It's recorded the first one, so I'll put it up where it needs to be
Uh-huh.
anyway. The main thing is about the energetics of what's happening around how the shift has gone from, having to battle stuff that didn't want us to have good things on the planet to focusing on what it is that we're meant to be doing and all of our dreams coming true and all those beautiful things and putting ourselves in a golden bubble because I was waiting at the end of July. I knew we were ahead of schedule at the end of June, and July was quieter, but they still wanted to battle and have fun. And those days are numbered for them, big time, because the Earth is tired of it. And I could get into the like cosmic history of what happened there and when it all started, because it's not always been this way on the planet and it was never meant to be that way, but we always knew this was the end of the timeline for that stuff. So now moving forward into the future, we're just
Mhm.
focusing on what it is that we want: success, selling beautiful homes, um, you know, all the things that we love to do, more free time to do the things that we really, really love, petting my cat who loves to be on webinars, apparently, me getting to be part of doing webinars and connecting with people. I had something where I had part of my career was very much so in front of the camera. for YouTube, but I didn't have any of that in my personal life, except for when people would see me in the grocery store and I couldn't even go grocery shopping because I had people recognizing me, and wanted to talk about the energetics. And I was like, I'm not in, I didn't want to hire an assistant to go grocery shopping. I still wanted to keep that part of my life very grounded and centered. And so I moved, also for spiritual purposes, because in Hawaii, they don't, people are very respectful here around other
Mhm.
people's privacy. And that's what I love about, that's part of what I love about here. But there was also a lot of energetic work that needed to be done. Anyway, yeah, so I was very much so doing my YouTube career and then ended up doing my work here. And I switched, I had a little bit of overlap of YouTube and doing markets and selling my
Mhm.
physical products and still doing my services, but it wasn't all video based. And I was one of the ones that had predicted COVID and then switched over to doing farmers markets and selling physical products. So, getting to know that more in person was a real need, plus having doing like major world healing in terms of like shutting down the negative constructs that were here in the other realms. But haven't always been here and they were not meant to always be here. And so they were defunct anyway. And so I would go in and close them down. And then after that, now we're like getting back into videos. So yeah, now we're getting back into videos. Now we're getting back into webinars, and I'm really excited because this is like you guys are giving me a feeling. It feels very different from how it when I was first doing them because
Mhm.
there were way more, people and things, but it's a good trial run before it gets big because we're gonna have a lot more people on them soon. But but for now, we have a smaller group where we get to talk about it. But Jesus was just having me give a few decrees that are important for him, and also asking at least 3 times a day for the golden bubble to be around us. So, around you just envision yourself in a golden bubble of light. And you can ask Jesus to maintain it or whoever it is that you love. You can ask Buddha to maintain it, whatever it is that you love. You can ask the angels if that's easier for you. And so it keeps me in this golden bubble. I feel other things and it's not fun. Like right now, I can feel some stuff where it's like curious, like knock, 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 can we come play? And it's like,
Mhm.
no, like back off, you know. But I can feel stuff even on the outside of the bubble. If it's 30 miles away, I can sense it. And it's just part of the awareness that comes with certain gifts. That isn't something you guys need to be having. So, but did you have some
Okay.
some questions around the golden bubble or why that's so
Um,
important?
I think I got the idea. And
Um,
then another question that popped
yeah,
into my mind was that when you mentioned that the Lions Gate is no longer on the 8/8,
yeah,
I was actually on the fence of going to Mount Shasta on the
go.
8/8.
If you're called,
Go?
go. She has a large number of people that are going in like August and because that's big actually. I put a post about that. Have you seen a post about how
I might
Telos
have,
is
but
really
then I
active
was
right
like, it's
now?
such a long drive, and they're having a wildfire close by, and then now you mentioned it wasn't on that day anymore, so I was like, should I even
If
considering going?
she's calling, go. She only calls to certain ones. She's been calling to me to go in September, like around the 9th, more around the 9/9
Uh-huh.
gateway, which is Mother Mary's gateway. So
Yeah.
that is one of the ascended masters has the Mount Shasta as an etheric retreat. So above it is one of the ascended master etheric retreats on a different dimension is Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta, do you want to know the history of some of that over there?
Sure, yeah. If you have
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some time and I'd like to talk anyway. It's my thing. So if
Okay.
you want to know if you're ever called, go. It's important. There's a large group of people that are going this year. I want to go. I feel called to go in September, but I need to make like the logistics of that happen for a few days. Right now, I'm like, there's other things that are shifting for me where I'm like, if it clicks, it'll be kind of at a certain point, and then I'll be all of a sudden flying out for the weekend and then flying back or during the
Okay.
week. But they have Panthers Meadow there. Their Saint Germain has a long history there, meaning like that violet flame of light. So I don't know if you've
Mm-hmm.
got the violet flame spray, but using that one with the Christ Light 33 is the most important sprays you can use right now. I have a new baby Krishna one if you like to heal things from the past, but also, um, hmm, sorry, I'm picking up on some energies that are like flying up, and I'm
Okay.
like, one, did you announce yourself? And two, did you tell me what you're here to do? And some are like, oh, we're here to be good, but they're like little jokers and they're not. But they're all human. There's not any, I don't see entities around people anymore at this point at all. I don't see things coming in and out of the planet anymore. It can't. It can't. A lot of entities can't even touch people. They're sitting in a different, most of them have chosen to go to the light. Others are sitting in another space, but they can't, there's no more negativity like in all of the multiverses at this point. So anyway, what was I going to tell you? There was something you were
You were
asking.
telling me about the spray. Oh, about Mount Shasta. You
Yeah,
mentioning Saint
Mount
Germain,
Shasta. Yeah, the
Panther
reason why I'm looking
Meadows.
over here in Lemuria, which is where the first major civilization was here on the planet before it fell, there's entire tunnel systems underneath the earth, and there's an inner earth and an inner sun, and that area has been getting cleared a lot. There's like a flash of energy that's happening. It's clearing things out in a second. It's the fastest thing I've seen in a long time to especially be here. Anyway, what that was just in time for Telos. Okay, so those people came from Lemuria and ended up in the tunnel system sitting underground until these times where they could support and come back on the surface. So a lot of things went underground when the energetics fell on the physical surface and the dimensions kept dropping. And as that kept happening, they kept the vibration for the planet alive, like in underground. So, but I think it was two Lions Gates ago. It could have been last year. It was either 22 or 23. Telos opened its doors. Telos is one of the inner cities up underneath Mount Shasta, where the
Mm-hmm.
Lemurians are now. And so, anyway, they opened their doors and just let some of the light kind of be there. They didn't do anything else. Ever since April, though, Saint Germain was like, hey, I'd like for you to take the rays of light of the inner Earth sun, bring them through Telos through for all the rest of the Earth. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, just Violet. He's like, no, all the rays. And I was like, okay, I can do that. So I brought up all the rays through from Telos all over the planet. And then a friend of mine who is reincarnation of one of the disciples, but we're not like hugely in contact, but I know who he is because I know all the disciples. Um, and he was very close with Jesus. And you can tell because we know information that other people don't about things. And he was one of the other ones that mentioned it. Lionsgate move is like actually in cancer season. I was like, well, holy shit, I'm not the only one that knows that. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
great, but he's literally the only other one I've heard it because you can tell because like right now it's really peaceful and it's August 5th. Like yesterday, a bunch of stuff from Mr. S got dismantled along with those he was trying to override. Some of those had requested to have their wisdom swiped so that they couldn't be used by him. And so that started happening through the councils. They started making it so that that information wasn't accessible for him to go in and use practitioners to force practitioners to do darker stuff. A lot of those folks switched to the light anyway. But back to Telos. Telos was basically for 2 years just letting light come out during that gateway, kind of open and closing the doors when it needed to. Didn't want that negativity coming in. But anyway, and people naturally it's just a gateway to get in and out of inner earth. And for the city of Telos, and there's Agartha is the inner world of the earth. So there's no like molten core or anything like that. It's an actual sun, and you can get down there and we'll be able to. Um, but yeah, like the Manahuni here were
Mm-hmm.
actually like here in Hawaii, were actually Apache, and the Apache were short, and they were Apache Native Americans that knew the tunnel systems that made it all the way to Lemuria. That's who the Manahuni are, and they're not
Wow.
midgets. Yeah, so that's who they are. the Apache elders, I've talked to them, and they're like, oh yeah, have you guys seen like our, Apache like elders? They call them the Manahuni, or and I'm like, yeah, I've seen a few. So but that's basically who they are. They're old Apache from back during the Lemurian times. Um, and they came from Turtle Island or the mainland and through the tunnels and came here. But not everybody. I've never heard a Hawaiian talk about it. I've only heard the Apache elders talk about it. So it's cool. I was at lunch with one of them who was like, "Oh yeah, that's Apache," and I'm like, "Yep, of course it is." So these tunnels connect everywhere, and that's why they don't. Not just anybody can get down in there because it's such a high vibration. It needs to stay that way. So anyway, what happened this year, and I didn't know what was prep work for this. They don't always tell me this because they don't want the other side to try to play with it. So I get sometimes lots of information, or sometimes I ask just enough to get stuff done so that I'm not bothered on my human side. So when he asked me specifically, like for the rays of light from the central sun out of Telos out, on the earth, and there were different friends of mine that were like, why are there rays of light coming out of there? And I was like, here's why. Um, and then I heard my friend at Serious Joy mention, he's like, strange. There's a lot of activations coming out of Telos these days and Mount Shasta. Like, I wonder what's causing that. And I just sit back and smile because I'm like, and then Saint Germain steps forward and he's like, see, we sometimes like to give you proof that your stuff is actually working. And so that's what it is. So when you attend these webinars, you get the behind the scenes secret stuff that most of the collective does not know about. There are 7 of us that have been chosen to provide this information to the planet. Not Basically nobody does it publicly. There was one kid who did on YouTube, but he stopped. So, but yeah. Does that help you to understand like some of what's going on? Because it's all been the dwindling of and these were agreements. They're all it's the kindest way is asking them, here's your choice point. What do you want to do? But this is your permanent choice point. And there's others that did not want to offer all sides choice points, just wanted to eradicate stuff. And that I've never found to be appropriate. It's like all things have been associated with God at some point and need to have the choice. But we're at right now the final choice point for any practitioner that's on the negative side that they gave them, and this is the final is if they're making it because they love control, illusion of control, not true godly control, by doing stuff and influencing others, and I'm going to make you scream out and I'm going to talk through your body, whatever it is that they're doing, or I'm going to influence this, like, and the high they get from it. The final choice point, it has gone out and said to them, you now don't have control of your body. Mr. S is doing it at any time that he's feeling like it. If you don't want that to happen, you have to choose right now. And so that went out yesterday at 4 a.m. Hawaii time. And then also there was the directive to make sure that those that were doing it had their like knowledge kept kind of in a corner, or wiped in some cases. I didn't choose that. I didn't watch that. I didn't even look at the percentage of it because Mr. S was so angry and some practitioners were so angry and others were really thankful because they were released from doing negative work for a very long time. So sometimes tribes will come to me and say, hey, thank you telepathically and stuff like that. And I see them. And sometimes I just don't want to hear it. I'm just like, I got a market to get to in an hour and a half and I don't got time. I got to go make some money. Like tell me later, like, the fact that you kept me up all night, like fighting that off. I'm like, would have loved some sleep. Thank you very much. So, but yeah, and then literally I heard it. They specifically said it, and the councils of light were present and they were like, he's just officially lost his stronghold because he can't touch people in the golden bubble. He can't, nobody that's he's using can touch you in your golden bubble. Nothing that's just using it as a hobby for witchcraft can touch you in that bubble. Nothing can touch you. and you get to focus, and you have the light of the golden age already around you. So that stuff can't touch you. And that's why this is so important. And that's why I recorded it. And that's why I want hundreds of people on here so I can be like, listen.
Yeah.
So instead, what I do during my world healing is go put them in gold bubbles until like until they know or they hear. Their souls know, but sometimes on a human level they don't. Or they naturally go find Christ or start praying something. But that's kind of what's going on. But those that are liking to do things like, hey, touch under your glasses by your eye, like those that are finding that fun have received their final choice point. And I don't know what the time frame is going to be on it. It's probably only a week or so, where
Okay.
they're told like you can't choose to do that for fun, but those waking up over the past couple of days are like, oh shit, he just came through and did that. We don't like that. We love control. So with all of that, um, they're also realizing, okay, it's time to jump ship. And then there's some that just go down with the ship and that's their choice. And there's no more hell. So a lot of them are just being reabsorbed and disintegrated. And there's no other place in all of creation that is teaching on a negative note anymore. So there's no other timelines. The other timelines are all merging into the highest timeline. So yeah, that's what's going on. And so that stuff is leaving the planet. It'll be gone by next spring 100%, but we've just hit one of the biggest percentage points I've ever seen. So I hope that helps. Those are the people that
Okay.
are on the physical, so all other dimensions are cleared out. So now they hit one group in March, a second group in April, May, and then the third group
Mm-hmm.
in June 1st, May 31st, June 1st, and that group did not
Yeah.
expect it because they thought that they were on track and they were not. And then they've got the whole one other group that they've just hit now. So, yeah. Does that help? Maybe a lot more details than you want to know, but
That's a
that's
lot
why it's
of
so helpful.
information that's up.
This is recorded, so you have access to
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm saving it. I'm gonna figure out the best place to put it. What I will probably do, because I don't know what's gonna happen when you go back to rewatch it. One of the things that I'm gonna try to do is put it on YouTube so that you'll be able to watch it as well. So,
Okay.
yeah. Did you have other questions? Were there other things? Because that's the history behind it, which is really big. The big thing is just do your golden bubble. You're going to feel better. You'll manifest better. You'll feel more joy. You'll have Christ protecting you. Like it's a whole different ball game. And now that the darker stuff is like dwindled down to almost nothing, like you'll feel even more where there's a lot less resistance.
Yeah,
So,
I'm going to do that and see what happens.
mm, I think that's the best thing is like to sit and watch, like, because you've got some sort of like temperature gauge, like based on what's happening in your life. You don't have to be as aware as I am about stuff or
Hmm.
even mid-level awareness to know like all of that is helpful. So you'll be able to watch. Please text me and let me know like what's helpful. But if you guys have questions, please let me know. You can unmute yourself. I would love to hear. Um, about all of this and what's going on for you guys. So, and if you don't want to, that's okay too. Some people are like, I do not want my face on this camera. It's like, it's okay. It's going to stay on my face. But yeah. Anyway, I had a few more people that were going to come, but luckily it's recorded. And I'm happy because I'm getting it out of my system. It's been in my system for so long. I'm like, webinars. I need webinars. I need to do it. And God's going, all right, we're getting your email list together. Now you can do a webinar. Now you can start doing webinars more often. Now we can start doing videos. Okay, momentum started. All right, what else do we want to do around videos? So it's just I can feel like the purpose and what's happening, and I could actually hear people in the collective praying for certain leaders to step forward. So like one of the biggest petitions, and please you guys like pray these petitions because it helps. um, One of the biggest petitions that's out right now is that there are certain people like me that and other like leaders that have been on the quiet, waiting for the vibration of people being high enough and ready for us to come talk to you about like more stories. You'll hear the people who have the stories. Some of them, there's one that's more in the public eye that's about to leave the public eye. He's almost done with his portion for the other leaders to step forward. Where he said, yeah, there's a lot of stories that are about to get shared that have not been shared. And I can feel it because there's pressure. And anytime there's that pressure of like, I'm like chomping at the bit, I know it's about to happen. But I can hear the collective prayers too of people asking for stuff. And so there's been a lot more. I've never seen this many apparitions in 1 year, but that's what I'm seeing. So anyway, did you guys have more questions? Is there something you'd like to know while you have me like on the call here with my favorite, one of my favorite colors, turquoise, which has secret meaning, which I did not plan, not purposely. So if not, it's okay, and we can end the call. But I'm super grateful you guys are here. We've gotten to start this. I'm also doing, what day of the week is it? I'm still choosing the day. Like I'm probably still on a Wednesday, but I've got this little market I like showing up for because the energy is good in Waimanalo. For whatever reason, there's a lot less energetic attacking happening in Waimanalo. It's like this little tiny area. Like it's just calmer, and there's less energetic interference. There's something around the particular mountain area that's just sort of like not, not messing around. So anyway, oh, there's 7. Were these poor people waiting and they didn't let me know? There's like 3 more people waiting in the waiting room and I didn't, oh, I'm just now seeing your messages. Okay, hang on. Okay. Trying to see. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Reese, thank you so much. I didn't know you were putting like links in there and stuff. Kinley, thank you. So you guys are great. Okay, if you don't have, yeah, there is a link to the Mount Shasta post in the comments if you guys like to read about that. It is in there. So you guys are amazing. Reese, did you have any other questions?
No.
No? Okay. Huh?
I'll talk to you after.
Okay, sounds good. I know everybody's like that. I'll talk to you later. There goes Kenley. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. If you guys would like to join me Wednesday, I think it's gonna move. Something around Wednesday is gonna move. But I'm doing my world healing. You guys are just present for it when I do it, and it's worldwide. If you'd like to join, let me know, and I'll let you know when I'm doing it. If that sounds good. So anyway, lots of love. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.